So it is now time for our speaker spark. And this morning excited to introduce our speaker who is a familiar face and voice in Circle of Miracles. And her name, Reverend Jet Dunn. She is involved in many areas of Circle of Miracle, and I always enjoy hearing the wisdom that she has to share. Her topic this morning is election. Where do we go from here and how do we get there? Now, this topic is not meant to focus on politics or who won, who lost, or how do you feel, who won, who lost. She will discuss how we can handle the certainty of change in our lives from a higher consciousness point of view. If we embrace, as she says, if we embrace the uncertainty in our lives, we can be energized to create the life we want to live, and we can grow from the experiences. It is called the wisdom of uncertainty. And we need also to remember to use our countless tools to create the world in which we choose to live, including listening to yourself. Jet Donna is a published writer, researcher, poet, dreamer, mystic, amateur photographer, holistic leader. She has a lot of letters beyond her name. Well, but you can read up on all that. And she's an ordained Circle of Miracles interspiritual minister. Her goal is to plant seeds of thought, foster growth into higher consciousness, encouraging us to change the world from the inside out, seeing it as a place of peace, healing, unconditional love, oneness, and higher consciousness. That is then over time what it becomes. She says, believe it, say it, see it, think it, feel it, dream it, and then be it. So, and her information is on the newsletter in the website. Her email is recreatellc@gmail.com. And let's now give a warm Circle of Miracles welcome to Reverend Jet Dunn.
Thank you, Jet. You give me 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Keep it in line. I'm sorry?
Get 20.
Yeah, about 15 so I can wrap it up. I have so much in there. 5 minutes. So as he so kindly and sweetly introduced me, I'm Reverend Jet Donna. I'm so happy to be here with you all today. And by the way, you could never look like a sea hat. You are so beautiful. I'm serious. So, we normally talk a little bit about how we got to this point, and I don't want to take up a lot of time with that because there's so much else I want to talk about. But my life story is an example of, how you face difficulties and, and you don't welcome them at the time, certainly, but it can bloom later in life into something much more beautiful. And as a child, I was given away at birth. My parents had no room for me. And then at 3 years of age, they had built a house. And so they took me back, but I don't think they were real anxious about having me. And they still didn't have room for me. I was sleeping in a bed in their bedroom. And, I knew they really didn't want me to be there. And so this created a lot of conflict and a lot of discomfort and heartache. But okay, here's the good news. I learned to astral travel early in life because I needed to be asleep by the time they came to bed, or they were angry. Well, when you try to sleep, it doesn't happen. So I would, you lay there stiff and you're trying not even to breathe. And so there was a movie out at the time, the guy with the flying carpet. I can't remember the name of the movie, but
Aladdin.
What was it?
Aladdin.
Yes, Aladdin. So I decided I would get my flying carpet and I would go off and be among the moon and the stars and the planets. And boy, I was zipping around with him all night long until one night I was standing at the bottom of my bed. This was in the morning. I assume I'm trying to get back. And I'm looking at myself like I'm dead, on the bed. And of course, I try to scream and I have no voice, slammed back into my body, mid-scream. And, my mother said it was just a dream, but I knew it wasn't. But of course, sadly enough, my carpet went into storage that night because it scared me. But that was my first entree into the spiritual world. And since that time, it has grown and has grown. And, fast forward to where I am now, I found Circle a decade before I actually had the time to get here. I'm an hour away and, I was supporting my family as a single mother. The first night I was here for class for the ministry school, Glenda and Hannelore, I cried the entire night. I was like swimming for shore and finally making it. So that's my story. To me, Circle of Miracles represents an island of oneness in a sea of duality and diversity. A place where anyone and everyone can seek mental, spiritual, emotional refuge and come away feeling healed and enlightened. So today is no different. I mean, we're going to talk, about the election, but it's completely non-political. God bless you all for whoever you are and whatever you believe, and you are welcome here, and we love you. Many of us are happy with the election, many of us are not. In either case, what is the higher consciousness response? Well, for those, of course, who are happy, they're, in euphoria right now. But beyond that, there is additional responsibilities that go with this. You put someone in office, you have to be vigilant. Are they meeting their promises? Are they carrying themselves in a manner that is befitting a world leader? Hold them to a higher standard and accountable to the promises they made, and expect clear, concise, straight ahead, truthful answers to questions and general information. And that would be true for anyone, not just the current election, but we have a responsibility. And if beyond that, we feel that things are not happening the way we believe that they would, we should take action. And it's important for all of us to understand the power of the individual. I mean, it's no small thing. Gandhi said, if the future is to differ from the past, if we are to leave a peaceful and healthy earth for our children, it will be the ordinary man and woman who do it. Not by becoming extraordinary, but by discovering that our greatest strength lies not in how much we differ, but in how very much we are the same. Norman Cousins, who is the human advocate, or was known as, he believed the path to a better world begins with the individual, that the only pressure greater than all other pressure is public pressure. We have to liberate ourselves from helplessness, immune ourselves from panic, and identify the ways in which we can participate in the big decisions of our time. To those of us who are not happy with the election, acceptance is really the lion's share of serenity. And that is as good a starting place as any. Remembering to trust in the wisdom of the universe makes this a bit easier. And then beyond that, affirming resolution for the highest good. Of course, if we're not happy about something, it's important to express those feelings. We cannot repress them because then they cause other problems. Anxiety, depression, even health issues can arise from that. And if you're grieving, you've got to get through the stages of grief. But as you continue to go and grow and get through them, and you are affirming resolution for the highest good for yourself, for the world at large, you get ultimately to that place of acceptance and then hope. So what is acceptance? It's like you're standing in a mall and you're facing this sign and it says you are here. Okay, so no amount of kicking, screaming, being upset, railing against anything is going to get you to the third floor. You are here, you have to accept this. So it's kind of like that for us. Of course, if you're in the mall, you just find an escalator and boom, you're there, but it's not that simple for us. But, we believe that we are going to be there. We are not going to necessarily get there following the same path that we hope that we would follow, but we don't know what the universe has planned or in store for us. We don't understand the perspective of the forces that guide this universe. There's karma, there's this, there's that, there's the next thing. Trusting in the wisdom of the universe is not always easy, especially for people in dire situations, but the universe doesn't make mistakes. A Course in Miracles teaches us it can look like a train wreck, but there is a seed of something good that is planted there. It may be difficult to find, but it is there. It might take us a while to get to it. There are many stories, and mine is one of them, about how a series of what someone might consider to be unfortunate circumstances led them to something unexpectedly good. That's the point of affirming the highest good. Again, we don't have all the pieces to the puzzle. We may think we know, but we do not have the perspective of the highest intelligence, greatest force in the universe, so why not put it in the hands of the one who is and does? There has been research done around prayer, and actually the prayer of surrender has been proven scientifically to be the most effective one. Thy will be done. We are all familiar with that. The affirmation I use is thank you, and you can say God, Father, Mother, universe, nature, whoever it is that you talk to, your guides, thank you for resolution for the highest good. And you just keep saying that over and over and over again. When anything pops into your mind, an unresolved issue, a fear that you have, a worry, something you're obsessing about, you go to this affirmation, thank you for resolution for the highest good. This is putting it in the hands of the universe, who has the greatest perspective to deal with it. You may, if you pray for this specific thing or that specific thing, it kind of waters it down, because you don't know that that is really the way that this is going to play out. It may play out in a way that you couldn't even have imagined, and it might even frighten you at first, but just, ride it out, ride that bucking bronco out, because there's something good that's going to come out of the other end. You have to believe that. It is a present positive statement that counters and negates any worries or fears rolling around in somebody's mind, and a tool with which we can overcome negativity and change the energy in and outside of us. It elevates our mood, putting good hormones into our bloodstream instead of fight or flight. To me, it's like having the universe on speed dial. I don't have to, a lot of us, and I don't have to go find someplace quiet to sit and try to get, I just go right to it. And again, I just keep saying it until my mind goes someplace else. This is actually surrendering and letting go. Doreen Virtue always said, prayer, affirmations, they're like a postcard. They don't go anywhere until you let go of them. So if you're going to continue to roll them around in your mind and obsess about them, first of all, it's really not good for you to do that. It doesn't do anything to make things better. And it's going to affect the outcome, because you're not letting go of it. You're holding on to it. You're not really giving it fully over. This also uses a technique that Greg Braden discovered when he visited the Coptic monastery in the Middle East, one of the deserts in the Middle East. Ask and ye shall receive is like 40 sometimes in the Bible. And he said, okay, can't be that easy. There's got to be more to it. And he went and he found, and they were actually doing healings using this procedure. But if you say, please God, that insinuates that whatever you need still has to be created. But at an energy level, there is no past, present, future. So everything that you need, that you could possibly imagine, is already there. So when you say thank you, God, universe, mother, father, whatever you say, thank you, you're that much closer to making it manifest. And if you believe that you are in receipt of this, and you can feel it, and you bring into it all of your senses, believe it passionately, see yourself on the other side of it. These are all tools to help manifest. So he has written several books, and one of them is The Lost Mode of Prayer, but there are several that deal with this particular topic that I'm talking about. The other thing that is very important in life in general is humor. In a case like if you're not happy about something, if you try to find that thing that is funny about it, it's called incongruity humor. And Dr. De Silva wrote a book, The Psychology of Emotions and Humor in Buddhism. And he argues that humor promotes self-awareness, which can result in an individual comprehending their anger. And acknowledgement of anger through humor can actually aid in the development of mindfulness, in which individuals become aware of their feelings without reacting or judgment. Laughter really is the best medicine. Norman Cousins, I love this guy. I mean, he's dead now, but he worked for peace. He was part of the Federalist, I think it was, movement, but his image of a global government, a place of oneness, not a place of ultimate control and, making everybody subservient. It wasn't about that. But he became very ill, and he was in the hospital. He was close to death. Nobody knew what was wrong with him. So he asked his friends to go find all the videos they could that were funny, and a video player. This was way back in the day. And he watched these videos, laughed himself back to health. And it was a complete mystery to all the doctors and people that were working with him. And he wrote a book about it. It's called Anatomy of an Illness. Of course, some things in life just seem to be no laughing matter. But what is true this moment, it may not be true in the next. And maybe you don't find that very comforting, but it's important to embrace the concept of uncertainty because it's fundamental to life. It's one of the tenets of quantum mechanics, the uncertainty principle. Many of the scientists, because of the uncertainty principle and because of the spookiness of quantum mechanics, they actually teamed up with mystics and so forth. And one of the things they learned from all of this, which there are many things they learned, but is to welcome uncertainty. Because first of all, it is a given. And secondly, living in uncertainty, we are more energetic and inspired. In ancient wisdoms, they do call this the wisdom of uncertainty. And this has been, for many, probably thousands of years in the past, that this has been the case. Worry and fear are like a rocking chair. Okay, they don't take us anywhere. That's when we go to the affirmation. And actually, when we feel helpless, we go to the affirmation and we're actually doing something. We're making a move forward in life by handing this off to the greater force of the universe. Anger, that's worry and fear are much lower on the vibrational scale. The vibrational scale, death obviously is the lowest thing. Shame is just right above that, and then we get to things like worry, fear, anger, and so forth and so on. But anger at least engenders energy. And if we channel that energy into something positive, get something done, create something, clean the house, we're moving ourselves up on the vibrational scale. And we're actually then also changing the hormonal component in our body from fight to flight to something. If we learn to accept uncertainty as a basic facet of life, we can come to embrace it for its generative powers. When we are uncertain, there is a certain energy, almost like an excitement, which keeps us on the edge of our seat, awake, aware, our mind sharp, almost like a big cat in the jungle stalking prey. Ongoing certainty has the other effect. It's like driving a car on an endless road in the middle of the night, and you get lulled into that, you have to fight going to sleep. Okay. All right. There are so many things that we could cover at this point in time, but let's jump to vibration. I mean, as far back as the ancients, as far back as people learning to walk upright, they used psychedelics. I mean, they were picking them out of the, droppings. Apparently there was something back when they were first wet. But anyway, higher consciousness has been around, that concept, since probably the beginning of time. We talked about the vibrational scale. And all of it, and I should say that going back to that vibrational scale, the higher vibrations, courage starts at 200, neutrality 250, willingness 310, acceptance 350, reason 400, love 500, joy 540, peace 600, enlightenment 700 plus, and authenticity, that's knowing who you are at that core and becoming that person, is right up there with enlightenment. Everything starts with a thought, okay? And it's the seed from which all else grows. I mean, it is an energy force. Thoughts actually have mass. They have the noetic science, they've determined this, and when there is mass, there's gravity, there is weight. That's why even if you're doing energy work, if you're walking around the body and you're bumping into things, they're unresolved issues. They're thoughts that people obsess about, and they gain mass over time, and then ultimately they manifest in the body. Unconscious thoughts and beliefs begin to develop during childhood. We're programmed. I mean, the things that we believe a lot of times and we accept as truth, they're not even our original thoughts, okay? They're things that we have been programmed. These beliefs are often unchallenged or accepted as truth, and it can lead to a distortion of reality. So it's very important to come to know who you are and what it is that you believe in. And you can't do that without putting some effort into it. There's fast thinking, which is that go-to thing. You're in the car, you're driving, you go there all the time, so you really don't pay attention. People do that with life. You can't do that with life. It's too important. It's too valuable. So we have to learn to dive a little bit deeper, to actually do some research. Why do we believe what we believe? Is this really our thought? Where did this thought come from? And of course, this is the beginning of knowing and the beginning of awareness. The beginning of awareness, a lot of times we don't know that we don't know. Then we become aware of the fact, oh, we really don't know. So then we begin to know, but it's a whole process and it takes time. Then after we know, then we have to use that information and discern, make decisions based on that. That is wisdom. When we use what we know to be true and we make our decisions based on that, that becomes wisdom. And then over time, that's real power. When you are coming from a place of wisdom, that is real power. We have to move from default into design. Okay, just moving ahead here. Creativity. We are born creative. What has been proven, and I can't go into the research here, there isn't time, is that it's educated out of us. I mean, kids, they've given a test that they gave to adults, and they could only find out of thousands of people, 3% who are creative geniuses. Gave the same test to kids 5, 10, and then 15 years old, these kids from a Head Start program. And at 5, 98% were creative geniuses. At 10, they were 36%. At 15, it dropped to 16%. So again, it's very important for us to get out of that, think outside the box. You know, use, instead of the convergent thinking, where we go to everything that we know to be true, divergent thinking, you know, thinking outside the box, taking chances, giving our thought process full range, not reining it in, dreaming, playing the what if scenario, becoming the child again, seeing everything as though we're seeing it for the first time. Thought manifests as word, word manifests as deed, deed develops into habit, habit hardens into character. So watch the thought and its way with care and let it spring from love, born out of concern for all things. And I'm going to leave you with this because I'm sure it's time. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. That was Buckminster Fuller, one of my very favorite quotes. So that's it in a nutshell. There's so much more to say. There's so many more tools to work with, but we'll have to save that for another day. Thank you all. God bless you.